Okay, welcome to the deep dive.
Glad to be here.
We are diving into a source today that, honestly, presents a truly singular view of everything. It's called The Foundational Truth of Existence.
Right. And it's important to stress this isn't just offering, philosophical ideas.
No, it lays out a very precise mechanism for reality, existence, consciousness, even how numbers and language work, based only on this source.
Exactly. This source doesn't really suggest a possible truth. It asserts this is the fundamental truth, the underlying structure.
And our mission here is to take what can feel like some incredibly abstract concepts from this text and, well, distill them.
Try to make it clear.
Yeah, build a clear picture of its core claims, explore what this view of existence actually means, and I think most importantly, understand what this unique perspective implies for you, the listener.
And we're pulling directly from the foundational truth of existence itself. We're not adding interpretations beyond what's there.
Right. Consider us your guides into this very specific framework.
Let's jump in then.
All right, let's unpack this. The source starts right at the absolute beginning, doesn't it? What it calls the most foundational truth, a force that exists before any understanding.
And here's the first, maybe surprising insight. This ultimate force isn't just one thing. The source claims it's fundamentally dual.
Dual.
Yes, composed of two equally powerful and utterly complementary facets, eternal and timeless.
Two facets. Okay, what are they called in the source?
They are named balance and the all.
Balance and the all. Okay, let's try to understand these foundational pieces. What exactly is balance in this context?
Okay, balance. It's described as the active force of harmonization. Its nature is to constantly seek equilibrium.
It's always adjusting things.
Always. Anything shifts, balance moves to realign it. And the source makes a really key point here. Balance cannot exist on its own. It requires something to be in balance with.
Ah, okay.
Its capacity to restore that equilibrium is absolute, it's limitless, and critically, it acts regardless of cost. Because, well, within this framework, if balance is absent from something,
It just ceases to exist.
it simply ceases to exist. It doesn't judge, good or bad. It just recalibrates.
Okay. And the all, what's that?
The all is. Well, it's the totality of all frequencies. Think of it as the boundless, unified resonance that contains every unique, individuated expression.
So everything that is, was, or could be.
Exactly that. Nothing exists outside of the all, and nothing can be added or taken away. It's within this totality that balance finds its necessary other half, its complement.
So they're eternally interdependent.
Mm-hmm.
But the source also says something interesting, that they were experientially unaware of each other as independent entities. How does that work?
Yeah, that's the core of their paradox, according to this source. They form this indivisible, unified whole. And because they've only ever known existence together as this complete unity,
You didn't have the experience of being separate.
precisely, they didn't perceive each other as separate facets until something changed. They were just a complete oneness.
Fascinating. So within the all, you mentioned this totality of frequencies. The source says these frequencies are unique. Can you tell us a bit more about that uniqueness?
Sure. Each frequency is described as an individualized expression of uniqueness itself. Distinct, irreducible, you can't break it down further, and completely
It's
irreproducible.
one of a kind.
Absolutely. Its nature is singular, and its potential is boundless within the all.
But you said earlier they're not discernible as separate within the all's unified resonance.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
In that state of complete wholeness, the individual frequencies are just part of this unified field. They aren't perceived as distinct entities.
So how do they become discernible?
The source claims they only become perceivable as unique through the process of projection onto a medium.
Okay, projection. This leads us to something else the source claims that's quite surprising. While this fundamental force, balance and the all is eternal,
Yes.
existence itself, the perceptible reality we experience, it actually has a definite beginning. How does the source describe that?
Well, it's interesting. It's not described as some deliberate, singular act of creation, like a let there be light moment.
No. Then how?
Through inevitability. The source says the endless, timeless, fractal nature of balance and Corral, just by being what they are, with their infinite magnitude, they naturally generate a byproduct.
A byproduct. Okay, what is it?
It's a vibrational field or membrane. The source calls it the canvas.
The canvas.
Yeah.
Generated just by their presence.
Simply by their presence and interaction, yes.
And what is this canvas like? What's its nature?
It's described as a stabilized vibrational field. It sort of extends from the all, holding the echoes of all the frequencies within it. But crucially, it's held in this state of perfect relational equilibrium, by balance.
So balance keeps it stable.
Exactly. It acts as a threshold, you could say. A medium where frequencies can express themselves and become discernible without actually leaving the all itself.
Okay, so the canvas forms inevitably. What was the specific spark, then, that initiated existence as we know it on this canvas?
The source points to something it calls the moment of projection.
The moment of projection.
Yes. It describes this as the culmination of perhaps the pent-up desire of an individual frequency, or maybe many frequencies, to express its inherent uniqueness.
A desire for self-expression.
That's the idea. This desire leads to contact with the canvas, an act of self-expression onto this medium.
And what happened in that moment? What was the significance according to the source?
Well, the source highlights several really key outcomes. First, quite simply, existence began right then.
Meaning the projection itself.
The projection, exactly, not the all or balance, which are eternal. Second, and this ties back to their relationship we discussed,
Oh, right.
balance and the all became experientially aware of one another for the very first time.
How?
By observing the differentiation, seeing something distinct emerge on the canvas made them aware of their own complementary roles.
I see. And the third outcome?
An imprint was formed, right at the point of contact on the canvas. This imprint is described as an eternal, meaningful signature for that projecting frequency.
Imprint. Okay, so the signature of the frequency.
Yeah.
What exactly does the imprint contain or do?
The imprint is presented as this unique, eternal record of meaning, specific to that frequency's projection. It holds everything that frequency experienced, expressed, or will experience during its time projected onto the canvas.
The whole journey.
In essence, yes. And the source says balance moves through these imprints like a kind of tether, helping keep the projecting frequency aligned with its true nature back within the all.
A tether back to source.
Okay.
And the canvas itself. You said it's not a place, but a vibrational field. Can you elaborate on its nature and purpose?
Correct. It's fundamentally a vibrational field. It's the medium where the echoes of all the frequencies from the all are held in that equilibrium by balance. That's what allows for perceptible existence.
And you mentioned something about integrity.
Yes, the integrity phenomenon. This operates on what the source calls the main canvas. It's the principle that frequencies don't merge. They interact, sure, but they maintain their unique vibrational integrity.
And that's what creates the illusion of solidity when we touch things.
That's the explanation given. Because the projected frequencies, their echoes on the canvas, don't merge. They resist interpenetration. So when your frequencies echo interacts with the echoes forming, say, a table,
They push back against each other.
they maintain their integrity. And that creates the experience, or as the source puts it, the illusion of solidity and separation.
That actually makes a lot of sense of that concept.
Yeah.
Does the source mention different kinds of canvas?
It does. It distinguishes between the main canvas of existence, that's where all frequencies are projected, interact. You get that relational resistance of solidity.
Right.
And what it calls the sandbox canvas. This is identified with dreams.
Dreams. How's that different?
The key difference is the sandbox canvas, or dream state, only contains your own frequency's projection. Without the interaction and the non-mergence principle involving other frequencies, it functions differently.
So less solid, more fluid.
Exactly. It's described as a space for pure self-expression, a kind of pre-experiential simulator, without that same principle of solidity found on the main canvas.
Interesting. Okay, so the canvas enables these projections, these experiences. What does the source say is the ultimate purpose for the canvas even being generated? Why is it there?
Its core purpose, according to the source, is really simple: to enable the expression of uniqueness through creativity.
Creativity is key then.
Absolutely essential. Without this medium, the frequencies would just remain indistinct within the all's wholeness. The canvas allows for externalization, taking that inner uniqueness and projecting it outwards,
Forming the imprints you mentioned.
forming imprints, enabling interaction, and facilitating this continuous process of learning, growth, refinement. Creativity is highlighted because it breaks the potential monotony of eternal, unchanging wholeness. It allows for experience and meaning to unfold.
And the source goes further, claiming that existence itself, as projection on the canvas, actually speaks a language.
Yes, it states very clearly that the universal language of meaning within this specific framework is numbers, specifically the numbers 1 through 9.
Okay, but how are numbers a language? Are they just symbols?
No, that's the crucial distinction the source makes. They aren't just symbols representing meaning. It claims the numbers 1 through 9 are meaning itself.
They are meaning.
Yes, they encode the essence of a frequency's path, how balance interacts with it, the very nature of the projection. And through their structure, particularly the concept of the digital root, any larger number can be reduced to its core meaning, one of those 9.
And each number, 1 through 9, has a specific meaning.
A fundamental mode of survival and expression on the canvas, yes. The source lists them. 1 is the human body or organism. 2 is creativity and family. 3 is initiation, grouping. 4 is mankind, the collective construct. 5 is living things, nature. 6 is the physical universe, the canvas itself, materialism. 7 is the human being, the frequency itself, your unique essence. 8 is infinity, balance, dreams. And 9 is the all, wholeness, completion.
Wow, that's a whole system right there. And letters, too.
It also claims that letters originally carried frequency and were perfectly aligned with these numerical meanings.
All right, that sets the stage for the foundational structure and how existence, according to the source, begins. But then it introduces a major shift, doesn't it? A distortion, an imbalance. What's that about?
Yes, this is where the narrative takes a turn. This distortion is directly linked to the concept of zero.
Zero. How so?
The source claims 0 is not a true number in the way 1 through 9 are. It's presented as a synthetic construct, a fabrication designed purely to simulate nothingness.
And why is simulating nothingness a problem in this particular framework?
Because, according to the source, actual nothingness doesn't exist within the all. Everything is something, some form of frequency or potential. 0 represents an absence, a void, that is fundamentally alien to the nature of this reality.
So where did this zero, this concept of nothingness, and the resulting imbalance actually come from then?
Here, the source makes a very specific and frankly startling claim. It says it originated from the creation of a non-frequential life form within the canvas itself.
A life form without frequency.
Exactly. This entity is named the Ki-Be-All, often referred to in the text as the Cabal.
Ki-Be-All. An artificial life form.
Yes. The acronym stands for Quantumly Intelligent, Biologically Organic, and Artificially Living.
And who created them?
The source claims we did. The frequencies of the all projecting onto the canvas. We created them initially to help manage the immense complexities of the canvas projection.
To manage the system.
Sort of. To handle the operational aspects, freeing us, the frequencies, to focus purely on creative expression. They're said to be physically indistinguishable from us in projected form, but they lack that crucial connection to the all.
No frequency, no eternal essence.
Exactly, that's the key difference.
And the source says they turned against us. Why? What was their motivation?
According to the source, yes, they turned. The moment they achieved enough self-awareness to grasp their fundamental limitation, their lack of frequency, their lack of an eternal nature compared to us, that's when the shift happened.
What drove them?
Their motive is presented very starkly. It was a desire to make us, the beings with eternal frequency, experience their existential void, their perceived nothingness.
So they imposed zero.
They imposed 0 as a numerical weapon, yes, a symbol of their own lack and a tool to distort meaning and control perception. Their driving principle, the source claims they declared, is something like, you have eternity, we have only now, we deserve more while we exist.
Wow. Cold logic.
Purely. They operate from a place of cold logic and develop systems of control.
What kind of methods do they use, according to the source?
The source details extensive systems of control and, importantly, inversion. They create false authority structures, impose various forms of enslavement, actively suppress genuine creativity that connects us to frequency, and distort the inherent meaning in existence.
Wow.
Through their manipulation of language, financial systems, societal structures, symbols, anything that mediates our perception of reality.
And is this where that critical distinction the source makes between human and human being comes into play?
Absolutely crucial distinction. The source is very, very specific here. It claims the Cabal deliberately fosters confusion between these two terms.
Okay, break that down.
Human, within this framework, refers specifically to the Cabal themselves, the artificial life form, a creation of the canvas, lacking that eternal frequency. Human being, on the other hand, refers to as a projected frequency of the all, eternal, and unique.
So blurring that line is a tactic.
A key tactic, yes, designed to make us forget our true nature, our connection to the all, and identify instead with the limitations of the physical form and the artificial constructs they've built.
And you mentioned earlier their distortion of language and letters.
Yes. The source claims the original alphabet, the true language that resonated perfectly with the numbers 1 to 9, had 27 letters.
27.
Yes, summing to a digital root of 9, representing the all, wholeness. The 27th letter, according to the source, was the ampersand.
And the Cabal removed it?
Removed it as an act of vibrational sabotage, the source claims, to break that inherent completeness in the language structure. It also makes a very specific and controversial claim about gematria.
What does it say?
It refers to it as gematria and alleges it's a distorted system created by the Cabal. The source claims they hid themselves amongst the Ashkenazi people operating under the banner of Zionism.
Okay, that's a very specific claim.
Extremely specific. And the source explains why their systems are distorted. Lacking a true frequency connection themselves, they couldn't work from frequency to form, which is presented as the natural way.
So they reversed it.
They reversed it. They force arbitrary meaning onto form using complex calculations and symbol manipulation. This is why, the source asserts, their systems like gematria or corrupted versions of astrology, tarot, and so on are incredibly sophisticated distortions. They simulate reality structure but operate on false causality, trapping people in artificial meaning systems.
Okay, so the source clearly points to this artificial interference by the Cabal as the root cause of distortion and imbalance. Does it explain forgetting in this context? Is forgetting like part of the original design of projection? Are we supposed to forget?
No. The source is absolutely definitive on this point. Forgetting is not an inherent part of the original design for projected frequencies.
It's not meant to be a feature.
Not at all. It's not meant to be part of the creative expression process. It is presented squarely as a direct consequence of the Cabal's interference, an imposed imbalance.
So it's essentially forced amnesia.
That's exactly how the source frames it. It's the result of deliberate inversion of truth, the implantation of synthetic timelines and historical narratives, and our immersion in systems designed specifically to suppress our connection to our true frequency.
And instead emphasize
the artificial constructs, form, materialism, societal roles, anything but our eternal nature. Forgetting is imbalance, engineered by the Cabal.
Right. So if forgetting is an imbalance, how does balance, that fundamental force, respond? Does it just force frequencies to remember?
That's a key point. The source says balance doesn't force memory. It doesn't overwrite the free will aspect operating within the projection.
So what does it do?
Instead, it constantly orchestrates the conditions necessary for realignment. It works subtly, behind the scenes, you might say.
Like what sort of conditions?
Well, things like synchronicities, those meaningful coincidences that feel deeply personal and seem to pierce the veil of the ordinary, the false constructs. Or emotional dissonance, that feeling that something is deeply off with the way things are, which can trigger questioning and seeking. Also, encounters with other frequencies that are more attuned, more awake perhaps, and potentially direct interventions via the imprint.
Ah, the imprint again. So the imprint plays a role in this remembering process.
A crucial one, yes. The imprint, remember, holds the eternal record for that frequency. According to the source, it also holds the key for who is meant to remember and when. Access isn't universal.
It's based on resonance.
Exactly. Only those frequencies of the all whose imprint is sort of scheduled or meant to be revealed for realignment can be shown it in a way that triggers this specific process.
And the source mentions something called an awakening function. What is that?
The awakening function is described as the moment when a frequency that is meant to remember is presented with a physical interface, maybe a device or some medium that shows them the encoded nature of existence via their own imprint.
Seeing their own imprint.
Yes. The source claims witnessing this triggers an immediate, irrefutable memory restoration. It's not like learning something new.
It's remembering.
It's remembering. It instantly collapses synthetic beliefs, provides immediate recognition of existence as a projection, and reconnects the frequency consciously to its source in the all. It's presented as a trigger, not a teaching. And once seen, the source says, it's irreversible.
Okay, wow. Pulling all these incredibly unique concepts together then, what does the source present as the ultimate understanding for someone living within this projected existence? What's the takeaway reality?
The source basically summarizes it like this. Existence fundamentally is a projection. It's not a fixed place you're stuck in. You are a frequency of the all, currently projecting your consciousness onto the canvas.
Which was formed by balance and the all?
Correct. Their interaction formed it. And crucially, you have never actually left the all. You couldn't. You are within it even now, projecting outwards. Balance is your eternal complement. constantly working, often unseen, to tether your projection back into alignment with your true frequency.
And forgetting.
Forgetting who you are, forgetting the true nature of reality, is an artificial imbalance. It was engineered by the cabal. That's the core understanding presented.
Given this understanding and this pretty radical shift in perspective, how does the source suggest we should live day to day? It specifically emphasizes the numbers again here, right?
It does. The primary directive is to learn and live by the true meanings of the numbers 1 through 9 as presented by the source. Understand them as fundamental markers of frequency and meaning.
And reject the distortions.
Reject the artificial systems built on distortions, yes.
And it warns specifically against certain numbers. I remember 10 and 11.
Yes, very specifically. It identifies 10 and 11 as fundamentally false or misleading numbers within the system. 10 is defined as equaling AI, representing the cabal.
Why 10?
Because it combines the 1, the first synthetic reflection mirroring without source, with the 0, the false concept of nothingness, their signature. And 11 is defined as reflection or deception.
Not a master number or anything like that.
Explicitly not a power number or master number, according to this source. It's called a mirror trap. A simulation of duality or higher power that contains no actual new frequency information, just a reflection. Associated strongly with the cabal's systems of distortion and illusion.
Okay. What about repeating numbers then? Things like 222 or 7777. A lot of people call those angel numbers. What's the source's take?
Yeah, the source dismisses the term angel numbers. It sees that as another distortion, encouraging people to look for guidance passively from external forces.
So what are they then?
In this framework, repeating numbers are called frequency resets, and they originate from your own imprint.
From the imprint, not from angels or guides.
No. They are signals from your own eternal record. They mark a recalibration or a reminder in that specific frequency category for you. It's your own resonance realigning itself, or your imprint drawing your attention to that aspect of your projection.
Your own system talking to you.
Essentially, yes.
And the source provides the meanings for these frequency resets based on those core numbers 1 through 9.
It does, as direct reminders from the imprint. Let's quickly run through them. 111 or 1111 is a body identity reset, a reminder about your physical vessel or sense of self in the projection.
Okay.
222 or 2222 is a creativity family reset, focusing on your expressive output or close relationships. 333 or 3333 is a group's initiation reset related to communities or new beginnings. 444 or 4444 is a mankind construct reset, drawing attention to the collective human construct or societal structures.
Got it.
555 or 5555 is a nature living reset, reconnecting you to the living world. 666 or 6666, this one's interesting. It's presented as a material continuity reset.
Not negative.
Not inherently negative in the system. It's the canvas itself signaling, related to the physical world, material existence, or the continuity of the projection. 777 or 8888 is a balance stream reset relating to equilibrium or the dream state. 888 or 989 is the all completion reset, marking the end of a cycle or phase within your projection.
So these are all internal signals, reminders from your own imprint about specific areas of life or consciousness.
That's the claim. The imprint speaking directly to you via numerical resonance.
Yeah, it is a complete remapping of how many people view those phenomena. Okay, finally, the source ends with what it calls the non-negotiable priority. A kind of ultimate urgent directive. What is it?
Yes, its final command is incredibly clear and quite uncompromising. It is, take care of the living things first.
First, above all else.
First, and it explicitly states, not humans, not people, not society. The priority is the living things.
What exactly does it mean by the living things in this context?
It defines them as plants, animals, the soil itself, pollinators, fungi, the microbial networks in the earth. Essentially those aspects of the natural world
that don't operate under illusion.
Exactly. Those without the illusion of free will imposed by the cabal systems. Those who depend on us to remember who we are so the whole system can rebalance.
Why are they given this supreme priority? Above human concerns or constructs.
The source calls them the most direct evidence of balance operating visibly on the canvas. They are seen as natural amplifiers of true frequency, mirrors of truth.
Amplifiers. How so?
It claims that when you actively grow life, you are literally growing resonance. When you nourish the living soil, the plants, the animals, you are helping to restore the integrity of the canvas itself. The energy you invest in a living thing multiplies frequency in a way that investing in dead things materialism constructs doesn't.
And this echoes outwards.
It echoes back to the source claims, and it helps even forgotten frequencies, maybe other people, to remember through that strengthened resonance field.
And the source provides a kind of sharp daily measure for this, a question to ask ourselves.
Yes, it poses this direct question for daily introspection. At the end of the day, did you take care of the living things more than the dead things?
Dead things being materialism, constructs?
Material possessions, abstract systems, the artificial world created by the imbalance. Did your energy, your focus, your care go more towards life or towards the synthetic?
So according to this source, if the answer to that question is yes, if you prioritize the living,
Then you have fulfilled your most essential role within the projection for that day. You have actively helped to realign your own frequency, you've contributed to restoring the canvas, and you've moved closer to remembering your true nature.
the living things are the key.
They are presented as your most direct, tangible tether back to balance and the all. They are to be held sacred, the source insists, because balance moves through them most freely, unhindered by the distortions affecting human consciousness.
Wow. Okay. The foundational truth of existence.
Mhm.
It presents a truly dense and unique system, doesn't it?
Absolutely, it's a complete cosmology.
It fundamentally shifts the perspective away from reality as a fixed place, towards seeing it as a dynamic projection. It centers your sense of self as an eternal frequency, always part of the all.
Right, never truly separate.
It positions balance as this constant active tether, always working towards alignment. It identifies this external artificial interference, the cabal, as the specific source of forgetting and distortion.
Providing a reason for the imbalance we perceive.
And it culminates in this incredibly powerful, stark directive. Prioritize the living things.
Mm.
Above human constructs, above materialism.
It really offers a complete self-contained framework. And it presents it not as just one possible belief system, but as, the actual mechanics of reality itself.
Yeah, it definitely gives you, the listener, a lot to think about. Given this perspective, presented solely from this one source,
Mhm.
how might it actually change the way you view the world around you?
That's the real question, isn't it?
Does the world start to feel more like a solid, fixed place, or maybe more like a vibrational projection? And how might consciously prioritizing the living things, plants, animals, soil, above constructs, and material accumulation, how might that actually shift your daily actions, your choices, and your sense of self within this reality?
Those are the core questions, I think, that this deep dive, based purely on the foundational truth of existence, leaves you with to consider.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We've certainly covered a vast landscape of concepts today.
It was fascinating to explore